Hey guys, welcome. Let's go ahead and start our 7.5 video with some vocabulary. So, we got 3 theorems, and I got to admit, out of all the theorems we've had all year long, this has got to be by far the best theorem name I've ever heard. This is not what I've heard in other books. This is a new book to me. So, the side splitter theorem, I mean, that sounds so rad. And it actually makes sense because it's exactly what it does. So when we have a triangle and we have a parallel base and a parallel mid-segment or segment in the triangle, it basically breaks it into two sides that are proportionate to each other. So it's kind of cool. So XR is to SY as we would have QR to QS. So just like this. So we can set up a proportion and solve for it, which is really, really cool. This works within our triangle, and it also works, so make sure you write all that down. It also works in, this is a corollary, so not only a triangle, but it also could work in if we just have 3 parallel lines, or even more actually, with 2 intersecting transversals. So here are transversals. And all these little segments, so AB to BC and WX to XY. Whoa, that was a sneeze and a half. My goodness, I must be allergic to all of you. There's something in your house or something I don't know I'm allergic to. But anyways, if you have cats, I'm allergic to cats, so please take the cat away from the screen right now. Anyhow, we have proportionality in this scenario too with parallel lines. So not just triangles, but they kind of look the same if you kind of go back and forth. Like, oh yeah, that kind of looks the same, except for, you know, those 2 lines meet and these 2 lines don't meet. So there's 2, and this third one's kind of different. So again, make sure you have all 3 of these written down. And this is called the triangle angle bisector theorem, which basically means if you have an angle bisector within a triangle, this is going to work out. And what you have is, if this is true, then we can say that this segment will correspond to this segment, and CD will correspond to DB. Okay, and different ways you can write it. So we could say CD to DB equals CA to AB, and we can set up proportions and solve. So let's go ahead and jump right in to doing our first problem. Okay, so here we are. Let's move my face out of the way. And here we have using the side splitter theorem. And what we have is 2 sections. And the sections that are going to be corresponding are going to be this guy to this guy, and then the 12 to the 9. So I can actually set up this in multiple different ways. I can do the left side and then do the right side, or I can go from left to right, doesn't matter, you're going to get the same. I'm going to show you both real quick. So I can say x plus 1 over 12 equals, and so see I went from bottom to top. I could do the same thing over here, x over 9, so I could do that way, or I could do this from side to side, so I could do x plus 1 over x equals, so I went from left to right, so I got to do the same thing, 12 to 9. Do you see how I get the exact same cross products? X is multiplying 12, and x is multiplying 12 in both scenarios. So it doesn't matter which one I do. I'm going to do the first one that I did over here. Going to get the exact same answer anyways, but let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to move my head up here, and we want to find the value of x. So let's get to it. And cross multiply, 9 has to distribute, so it's going to become 9x plus 9 equals, this will be 12x. I'm going to subtract the 9x over, and that'll be 9 equals, this is going to become 3x, divide by 3, and x equals 3. Okay? So very simple. We're going to be basically setting up proportions the rest of this chapter, because it's the last lesson. That's all we're doing today. So here we go. Let's look at our next problem. Again, make sure you write down, draw the picture, put myself right here, draw the picture, the words, to make sure you get the full credit, okay? Clear that, and let's move on to the next question. Finding a length. Okay, sorry, I don't know why I did that. I'm going to go up here. I'm just going to chill right there. All right. So we have 3 campsites are shown in the diagram. What's the length of site A? So here's site A. We want to find the length of site A along the river. Okay, so we don't know what this is, so we'll call this X, and we can set up a proportion. Again, 9 with X and 7.2 with 8, we can do this. This is easy. So 9 corresponds with X. Notice I'm going the bottom to the top here when I'm setting this up. So 9 to X, I'm going to do 7.2 to 8. Okay, notice everything's in yards, so we're good. We don't have to worry about doing any changing of units, so that was something we have to think about. So our answer will be in yards, and we'll go ahead and cross multiply. Now, since we have decimals, we want to be a little careful that we get the right answer. So 9 times 8, we don't need a calculator for that. That's going to be 72, and then we're going to get 7.2x. Now, hopefully some of you can do this in your head, but maybe you can't. We're going to divide by 7.2. And you know what? I'm just going to double check that this is correct. So, you know what? I'm not wholly 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it should be 10 is our right answer. And in fact it is. And we get x equals 10. And we want to write yards because this is a word problem. We want to make sure that we include units of measure. All right, last problem. All right, so we have our angle bisector. So this is following our third theorem, our triangle angle bisector theorem, which is a mouthful. And again, we can correspond things in a lot of different ways, and we could do 12 to x, 10 to 18. I could do 12 to 10, x to 18. As long as I understand the relationship of what's going on, I'm going to do 12 to 10, so I'm going to take care of the left side first, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do x to 18. Again, as long as you're doing it in the same order that you have, you're going to be fine. Cross multiply, and we get 10x equals 12 times 18, don't know that off the top of my head, so that's 216, divide by 10, x is going to equal 21.6. When you divide by 10, pretty easy, you just move the decimal over one spot, so that's nice, and we get 21.6, and we're good. So we'll be covering that, and just be prepared. All right, ciao, folks.